How's it going, guys? So I recently did a readout of the new Nemesis 6.1A division. So Nemesis, just a quick recap, essentially about once a year, once every year and a half, we get the opportunity to vote for two divisions we want to see in Warno from three pre-selected options. So three pairs, and then one pair wins. And it's time to reveal the third ever vote. So last time I covered this, I was going to say yesterday, it's been a lot longer than that. You can find it here, it'll be linked in the description. I talked about the Nemesis 6.1A, which is the French 27E Division Alpine. Just to summarize my thoughts briefly, go watch the video. And today I'll be talking about the Polish 5th Wowew Division. For some reason they call it Wowew. I'm not sure why. But yeah, it's got a nice emblem there. I believe that's the Edelweiss flower. And yeah, so if you want to see the French one, linked in the description, right? So today we'll be focusing on the Polish one, the Wowew division. So let's cast our gaze on the Warsaw Pact offering in this Nemesis 6.1 DLC, the Polish 5th Podhalanska Brigada Wowew, or the 5th Podhal Brigade of the Internal Defence Forces. Wowew. I do find it very funny that they decided to call it that, but that's their prerogative, right? The Podhale Rifles are the traditional mountain troops of the Polish Armed Forces, first formed in 1918 in the Podhale, hence the name region, also known as the Polish Highlands, in the foothills of the Tatra Mountains. So you can already see the similarities to the French one, right? Basically, they're two mountain brigades, right? Nemesis 6.1, the Mountaineers. So it would be cool to get more light packed divisions, to tell you the truth, because like all the packed divs are basically heavy except the airborne ones. You basically got two flavors of packed div, or three flavors. Reservist slop, which is usually quite heavy, or airborne, or heavy div. Really, the only one I can think of which is sort of almost a NATO-esque light div is 4th Mordschützen, which incidentally is my favourite pack division. So hopefully this one stands up to the mantle, right? Hopefully it's worth voting for. The French one seemed okay. Having formed two divisions and several independent brigades at the beginning of World War II, the mountain troops were famous for their trademark hats and capes, being regarded as Poland's elite forces. After 1939, surviving elements were reorganised in France as an independent brigade. I do wonder how they got out. Probably just, smuggled out, basically. I doubt they'd have been able to bring much of their equipment with them. These took part in the Allied Expeditionary Campaign in Narvik, Norway in 1940. Man, these guys cannot stop taking L's. Not only were they in Poland, and then they got sent to Norway. Defeat there meant repatriation back to France, which was soon after invaded by the Germans. Yeah, I mean, these guys, they're a bad luck charm. The Poles retreated to Switzerland, where they were interned. Wow, it can't get worse than that. I suppose you could die, right? But they served in Poland. Poland got annexed. Then they went to Norway. Norway got annexed. Then they went to France. France got annexed. And then they went to Switzerland and went to jail. Although many found their way to occupied Poland to join the underground army. Then they got to be there in that the Warsaw Ghetto, right? Wow. Literally all L's. Damn. I don't want to vote for an L division. I got nothing against Polish people, but, I only vote for winners. Fast forward to Poland under communist rule. More L's, more L's. The Podhale Rifles and their traditions were breathed into new life in 1956. Yeah, to take another L. First with a battalion, later enlarged. I was just trying to. There's an L in there, but to the 5th Pod Hail Brigade of the Internal Defence Forces. These units were tasked with protecting government infrastructure, as well as fending off enemy saboteurs and paratrooper drops. In times of war, it was envisioned to be expanded to almost divisional size. Another unit, the Carpathian Brigade of the Polish War. Oh my gosh. They can't keep getting away with it. One of them's called Wowew and the other one is called Wop. Oh dear. Also, if you don't know what this word means, just Google it. Also carrying the traditions of the Podhail rifles. In our war scenario, Polish authorities, seeing the dangerous NATO breakthrough in Czechoslovakia, are sent into a frenzy. Fearing that the enemy offensive will keep driving each and reach Poland proper, they scramble everything they can to stem the tide. This means the 5th Polhanska Brigada Wowew forming the core of this defensive battle group. And then the... I can't keep saying it. Oh dear. Then the Carpathian Wop Brigade. This was a high readiness brigade with very few reservists. These are considered regular soldiers. Elements from the 9th Mechanized Division, a cadre-filled Mechanized Infantry Division, chiefly functioning as a training formation, being seconded from is that Breslau? Where is that? Presumably it's one of these places that used to be Germany. No. Used to be Russia. Detachments from the Krakow Zomo, well, at least we can say that word without laughing. Still a bit of a silly word, though. These were the dreaded riot police of Communist Poland, allegedly the best police force operating to maintain internal stability in the Eastern Bloc. Units from the Soviet 502nd Separate Anti-Tank Artillery Brigade, on its way from Belarus to join the troops advancing against Denmark. Instead, halfway, the Poles commandeer them to put a stop to the native offensive in the south. So this is interesting, right? They've actually done some lore. It's a shame it's not actually in the game. Something that's probably worth discussing, actually. So, you know, here's Warno, right? You build a division in Warno, you just get a list, and you don't know what any of them are, you don't know what any of them mean. You can sort of tell from the words, right? Armoured Division, rating A, that doesn't really mean anything. And then the type, so that's armoured. And, you know, like, what is MNAD? You've got no idea what that is by looking at it. And some of them, like, you know, okay, tank. Tank. Okay, that makes sense. Like, what the hell is a DeSanto Sturmüberbrig, right? Whereas if you actually, you know, if we take the time here, I'd encourage you to just bear with me for a second. I have a reasonably fast PC, so this won't take too long. This is Steel Division 2, Eugen's previous title before Warno, and it does this much better, because, just bear with me, that's a pretty cool looking thing. Yeah, so battle groups, divisions, and then, look, so this is... Okay, so I know it's tank. This is all I'd get in Warno. This is all I'd get. But then you come over here. Whoa, what do you know? Words. So not only do you have the guy who led the division, presumably, but you also have some words explaining things, explaining roughly what's in the division, right? And some of the history of the division. Now I understand that in World War II the war actually happened, so there's a bit more history, right? But there's history right here. There's history in this document we're reading. These words, all they have to do is just make the screen the same as the SD2 one. Get the divisions, move them to the side, put another list there, and just have the words. And then at least you'd know, right? You'd get some lore, and like it could be like 2 paragraphs of lore, 1 paragraph of lore, and then 1 paragraph of this is what this thing is good at, you know. This is the kind of unit that's in this division. This is the sort of thing, you know, like whatever's unique to that. So 24th US, you could say, this division's crap, but it has access to the Stroke Eagle, which is also kind of bad these days for the price and so on. But you get my point. And I think that's something SD2 does much better, actually. Anyway, So now we're at the deepest lore. It just helps me if I do the 0943 deepest. Oh, actually, no, this is a Logitech. Oh, actually, I forgot. I forgot to do this. It's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen. They get the Logi tab. They get their videos early. One join at the lowest levels with 2,000 views. So if you feel bad about your ad block, it's a great way to support the channel. This is my sole source of income, which is why I shill like my life depends on it, because it does. Otherwise, please just like the video. Makes YouTube recommend it to like 10 more people for every like you get. That's just something I read. Hopefully it's true. So, the fifth the fifth Wowew in Warwew. Wowew in Warno. New units are marked in both italic and bold. As always, units and categories are subject to change. So we got, sorry, there's something up with one of my eyes, basically. I just can't see properly on my right eye. I keep going to the opticians and they're not really giving me any answers. But anyway, Logi. Pretty good category made up of command units, which include WD-43 Jeeps and Scott R2M command APCs. So pretty good category generally means nice slots. Now, if you consider that this is supposed to be kind of like a lighter division, really, like I said, PAC doesn't have that many light divisions. It's either reservist slop, which is like not really light. I mean, Berlin Gropers is probably the closest thing to like a proper light div in terms of just, you just get a bunch of SPW-70s. And so if you look at this Logi tab, 1111223, it might be something like that. Compare it to 4th Mott, which is another one we spoke about. 112233. So I reckon it'll be more like Berlin Gropers. Honestly, it would be cool to get a light div for Pact, because like Pact is so boring, man. Everything's just heavy or reservist slop. So like this is a good div, and it is sort of light, but it's just because it's just full of reservists. It's not actually like a proper light div. It's just all reservists, and sure, you can be a reservist, great, but anyway. WD-43 Jeeps, just your typical 3 availability car, right? 80 points, 3 availability, 4 HP, very normal, very normal. There's so many like this. I mean, here's another example just off the top of my head, right? There's loads of them. You'll notice the British one's slightly better. Good. They're all over here anyway. Scott R2M, so this is 2 per card, I believe, so 100 points. This one's a lot less popular. You tend not to see this because for some reason it costs 100 points. Like, why is beyond me, because it doesn't have any smoke. So who's paying 100 points for that? Like, I mean, it's got a KPVT. It's sort of reasonably fast. It's got more armor, but like, there's no reason to bring this. Either you bring this one if you want fast, or you bring this one if you want, armored and stuff. There's no room for this. So, like, that should basically just be 90 points, basically. Anyway, supply units include a fob, a zaup, so that's like soap from SAS-G, and civilian but military commandeered heavy truck called a jelk. Okay. So this is it. That's your truck right there. Who knows if it'll have... It probably won't have the articulation. Right, you see the articulation there? It probably won't have that. It'll probably just be like that. So it's a truck. Great. And there it is, right? And it's going to be heavy, which we can assume means 2,000 supply with, 3 per card, or something like that. And yeah, a fob, right? Yeah, nothing to speak of there. 1 new unit, it's just a Logi. It's just literally just a truck. So, infantry tab. So, infantry tab, very good, as can be expected from this mountain infantry division. So you'll notice Pact actually, I believe, has no mountaineers. I'm sure there's probably one in, yes, the Afghansti, that's what I was looking for. Mountaineer basically just means you go faster through forests, and I believe through ruins as well, but I'm not actually sure. But yeah, regular units in forests have 2/3 the speed. So 2/3 of 24 kilometers an hour is 18. So most infantry units go at 18 kilometers an hour in the forests. The Afghansi will go at 24, which means you can either disengage or, or re-engage, right? Generally, it doesn't matter too much because it comes down because cohesion lowers your move speed. So if you're low cohesion, you basically can't run away from somebody who's high cohesion because they're just going to catch you. But, this might be able to mitigate some of that effect. Anyway, in terms of very good category, I would probably turn to Berlin Gropers again, because 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1, right? So I'm assuming it's going to be like that. I don't actually know, right? They haven't made it yet. You haven't voted for it yet. The Pod Hail Infantry form the core of the battle group, all featuring the Mountaineer trait, which we just described. Pod Halansi are 10-man squads with... Okay, let's just actually do this properly.
PODHLANSCY.
Y.
Podhalanscy.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. Pod Halansi are 10-man squads with Kubik AKM, 1 RPK, and an RPG-2. In real life, they would have just had hand grenades. So it's 10 men with 1 machine gun. So it's kind of not... And an RPG-2 is terrible, by the way. I believe that's what the KDA Schutzen get. Yeah, it's got 10 AP. So, yeah, so it's basically going to be like this, except not militia, not reservist, and 10 men. So I guess that's not a huge comparison, but basically it's going to have 11 shooty power, because it's 9 rifles and 1 MG, and an MG is like 2. So 11 shooty power, whereas this 8-man squad has... Because these are like 2 rifles each, and there's 2 of them. This is like 4 rifles, so 4 plus 4 is 8, quick maths. Plus 5 is 13. So this has 13 shooty power, whereas the 10-man squad will have 11. So we'll see how much they cost. The thing is that actually having lots of HP is useful. Here you go, here's a squad. I mean, basically they're not going to cost 60 points for obvious reasons, although Vakshutzen are a little underpriced, but that's because the div is crap, and so it doesn't matter. So, yeah. No, give it back to me. There we go. So, variants of the base squad are the Dao Palansi Leader Squad, which is presumably 10 guys with, with CV-ness. The Pod Halansi RPG-7 with the better RPG-7 VM, which I believe is the 18-pen one. This is a VR at 20. This is a VL at 18. VM. VR at 20. VR at 20. Interesting. VM. RPG-7 VM. I reckon that'll be a Reservisti, maybe. Yes, here we go. Reserviston. RPG-7 VM, 14 pen, so enough to one-shot an 8 HP 2 armor vehicle, so an SPW-70 from the front, because it would be 16 pen to one-shot a 10 HP 2 armor vehicle, like, the IFV or whatever the hell, right, 2 armor, 10 HP, it'd have to be 16, but something like an SPW-70 with 2 front armor and 8 HP, it would actually one-shot that from the front. So it is a little better. And a few Podhal Druzia Papank tank hunters will get the only available RPG-7 VL, which we just saw. So that's 80, so it'll be like this squad, right? So it'll probably, but it'll be 10 guys, so it'll probably cost 45 points, or maybe even 50 points. For 2 RPG-7 VLs and 10 rifles. It's not too bad, right? If you think about Fusileros, right? So the C90 got buffed by... In fact, actually, yes. So it'll probably be about 50 points then. Because it'll have 2 RPGs, but it'll be 10 guys, so it'll be 50 points most likely. Because these are 11 guys. 50 or 55 points, something like that. The Podhal Saperzi combat engineers will also be featured, although we are gathering more details about their equipment and organisation. We are not expecting you to vote for this one. So that'll be presumably 10 guys with satchels, right? So if you think... So Saperzi are actually kind of cool in that they're the only... Or some of the only... The mostly only... the Polish sappers basically have satchels and RPGs, which is pretty cool. That's not very common. I believe they're the only ones. There's probably some other unit that comes with... I mean, obviously, it's stuff like, Navy SEALs, right? But in terms of line sapper squads, the Poles are the only ones with AT and the satchels in great numbers. The usual array of support weapons teams, including the Podhal PKM. So if these are all going to have the Mountaineer trait, that's actually pretty interesting because, so as you know, MMG teams are very meta. But like, will they be resolute as well because they're mountain troops, or is that not how it works? I mean, I guess if they're getting the Mountaineer trait, do they get both? Most units that have the Mountaineer trait actually get both. So if you think about Gurkha rifles, Mountaineer resolute. You think about Afghan D or whatever they're called, Mountaineer resolute, Mountaineer resolute. Right? I can't even think of any other Mountaineer squads. Oh, actually, wow, we could... Oh, crazy, I know, crazy. Is it? It's not on here, is it? No, there it is. So, there you go, we found some that don't. So the Gebirgsjäger are just Mountaineers, so they'll probably just be Mountaineers. And, yeah, but that means that, you know, they're going to go faster through the forests. We don't actually have a Mountaineer MMG team, as you can see, right? So, this will go at 80 kilometers an hour through the forests, which is at the same speed regular infantry units go through the forest. So, I mean, it's something small, but it's cool, right? The Podhal Dushk HMG and the Podhal SPG-9. So, infantry SPG-9 teams are pretty rubbish, sadly. But yeah, here's a Dushk. You can either get it in reserve or AA format, so that'll be new, I suppose, in a way, right? But basically, it's just a 50 cal. It's just a 50 cal stat clone, right? So it's not actually that unique because look, they're just the same, except the AA one obviously can shoot at helos or whatever, and it's got 5% less accuracy because it's reservist. But you get the idea. And the SPG-9 with Mountaineers, so that's just, you know, you're very familiar with these. They're not very good because they're only 2 guys and they just get shot and they have 30% accuracy without the vet, so... Oh, is that... interesting. 35 without the vet, my apologies. But still, it's just not very amazing, frankly. Fires fast, but you don't have enough HP and you miss a lot and then you die, so generally people don't bring it. But, you know, if you've got 10 infantry AP slots, then you should just bring 2 cards of MMGs, 2 cards of ATGMs. Just forget about this. Oh dear. Maybe it can be worth it. All Podhail squads come in softskins transports, either the UAS 469 or the Star 266, so... There it is, the UAS 469, right? And the star will be for the, star. Yeah, so it's just Polish, right? And, you know, this is already in the game in many different flavors, but yeah, it's this one or it's this one. So that's a shame, because the idea behind the lighter divs is that they come in things that can shoot, like wheeled, like the VABs. Right, the SPW-70s, so if they're just infantry, then that's kind of crap. Anyway, here's a Mountaineer, presumably. Mountain enthusiast. Is that an AKM receiver there? I think it is. Actually, is it? Wasn't the AKM stamped, so... who knows, I'm sure you guys can tell me. Oh, it's still going on. The WAP will all feature the Mountaineer and the security trait. I'm just reading the words, bro. The WAP are 6-men squads, fielding Kubik AKM and RPK light machine guns. I'm just a journalist, while the WAP leader is equipped with an SMG, an SVD. So interesting. I mean, 6 men, AKM and RPK. I mean, it's not that interesting, but I don't think there are many 6 men squads like that. Grenz is a 7, right? Uh, 6 men is like this, I suppose, Panzer Grenadier kind of thing. But there'll be Mountaineers and security, so they'll probably cost. Although they're not going to have an AT, so they'll probably end up costing about that much if they're Mountaineer and security. But the AT adds so much, they might even be like 30 points. We're in Vopos territory. Oh, 6 men. It might be like 30 points, I suppose. Security, basically, it means you get +1 optics when you stood still. Here it is. So, there you go. The optics go to good when they're stood still, so it can be useful as sort of like a pseudo recon, but in practice it doesn't matter because good optics aren't that much better than they aren't that good. You need very good optics, so you might as well just bring a recon squad anyway. But in some situations they can help. It's just the sort of thing you don't really notice, and if it's there and if it's helping you, great. And otherwise you don't notice. Like another great example of that would be this Dazzler trait on the Sublinde. Inflicts a penalty of 10% ECM on all guided missiles. So this tank has 10% ECM, but you don't. I mean, it's the sort of, you don't plan for it. You don't work your strategy around it. If the ATGM's coming towards you, you have to smoke because you've only got 4 armor. So, yeah, because you can't rely on 10% ECM to save you. But in some cases, it will actually be working. You just won't be noticing. The 9th Z mech provides a few cards of reservist units, all carrying the, you guessed it, reservist trait. So the Dao Reservisi are leader squads pared down to the bare minimum of 3 men. Right, so, oh, but the advantage is it'll be 3 availability because they are reservists. So it will be similar to this. Oh no, that's 6. There is one that's 3. Where is it? It's like KDA summit. KDA? KDA Fiora. Oh, these are 6 guys as well. There is one that's 3. I just can't remember what it's called. Let's go looking, because isn't that the whole point of this? To find things and talk about things. That's 4. 12, 12. 3, there it is, 3. Aerofire team leader, and nobody ever brings this, because I'm pretty sure this one's actually 2 availability. No, it is 3. Okay, well that's something at least. So it will be 3 availability. And they get smoke and a PM63, which is a very bad SMG. There are a few units that get that. I might as well just show you them. Oh, well, yeah, we're not going to find it that way. It'll be in the Polish div. So far, I'm not very impressed with this division. I don't think it's very good. Here you go, PM63 rack. It's got very low accuracy for the... I think it's classed as better than a Sterling. 55% accuracy. We look at HSF, although they're militia. 35%. Yeah, and that's like -5, -5, -5. So yeah, I think it's still worse. They lead the Reservisi squads in stars, and at least you get some Scott 2As, right? Although, I mean, the Reservisi squads, what is that? It's not explained how big it is. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if it's KDA Schutzen, then we're in business. Although what the actual best reservists are the patrollees. No, what are they called? Oh man, but the ones in DivMob. You know the ones I'm thinking of. Not Prevote. Provincio, that was it. This is the best reservist squad because it's got 2 MGs. But yeah, it's pretty funny that they've ended up costing the same as KDA Schutzen. Although the KDA have the militia tag as well. 2 more guys is useful. So yeah, the Provincio's still better actually because the militia tag makes you pretty useless. Anyway. Support weapons include the Reservisi B10, so we've seen this before. B10. Oh, weird. It's in 157Y, isn't it? Might be called something else. Oh, it's a B11. Interesting. I wonder what a B10 is. Must be even worse. Damn. Look at that cap. It's got this weird cap on it that's actually got a hole in it. Interesting. I'm not sure how that works. Must be like a coat hanger. Anyway, yeah. I used to bring it. It's really bad. And the World War II era Reserwissi SG-43. So this is in Steel Division 2. I won't bother showing you, but basically, look, so the Maxim has worse stats than the regular PKM, and it's actually just really bad because it's half the DPS, and it's reservist for only 5 points less because 15%. All of the things being, in fact, it's actually less than half because at least the salvo length's longer. So I'm not sure how that affects things actually, because you don't have to reload as much, but the reload time is longer. But yeah, basically, if it's not going to be like a regular PKM team, it's a downgrade, and why would you bring it anyway if you've got the Mountaineer PKM team? I'll be honest though, I'm not particularly enthused by this so far, and I'm assuming the Infantry tab's going to be the best tab because it's the Mountaineer division. Where's the cool stuff? Where's the guys with the, you know, I mean, I suppose the sappers could still be cool, but there's no special forces, there's no airborne forward deployment. There's actually nothing new at all. It's just rejigs of things which already exist. You know about the RPKs, the RPG2s, the RPG7s, etc., etc., right? And it's like this one has reservists this time. The only one that's actually new is this B10, because this is a B11, and one can assume it's going to be pretty similar. Don't the Czechs have something called B something? No, this is different, I suppose. Interesting. Yeah. The Polish security apparatus will provide 2 infantry units with the military police and militia traits. So we've been over this. The militia trait makes you bad. The militia, actually meaning police in Polish, is a 2-man. I mean, what? 2 guys? For an infantry squad, that's the smallest infantry squad, right? An SPG-9 is a weapons team, so it goes slower and stuff, right? A Javelin is a weapons team, but a 2-man military police squad is going to be useless. Unless they give it like 15 availability, why would you ever bring that? Because it's just going to die immediately. Like, so even if you think about like, what are they called? I can picture them in my head. Too tired, I suppose. The Feldjäger, right? This is 4 guys, and so what you can do with these is, and some people do it, it's quite rare, but they do it, is that they'll just buy out like 4 of these at once and send them in the forests, and then, you know, 4 times 4 is 16, so you got 16 HP and the MP5 shred, and so you can actually kill people with that. But this is going to be a significantly worse SMG, because this has like 80% base accuracy, the other one has like, what, 40, maybe 50? It's almost twice as good. And half the guys, so unless they literally make it 5 points, there'd be no reason to bring that. Well, what can I say? The dreaded Zomo Riot Police will provide larger military police squads in Stars or the BTR-60PB Zomo with bull bars and the military police tray. So that's pretty cool, actually, because if it's got a cope cage on it, which I'm assuming that's what a bull bar is. We don't know how big they're going to be, but it's going to be sort of like Wowew, right? Wowew, presumably, right? 9 guys, right? Or it might, and look, they've got racks and so on, and they're Polish. Or what are they called? Gendarme de l'air, or gendarme mobile, or gendarme. You know, that sort of thing. As you can see, the Poles are losing. Oh, actually, it's got security, hasn't it? Whereas the Polish gendarmes don't, which is interesting. So it'd be like Wowew, maybe. The BTR-60PB with a cope cage actually gives it +1 armor. Because if you think about, it's like this thing has 2 armor, and it's just because it's got a cope cage. Although it's on the back as well, so I'm not sure why it doesn't have more top armor and more rear armor. Right, I suppose it's, you know, it's not actually on the top, but it's definitely on the rear. Should have 2 rear armor. Anyway, um, so the BTR, I mean, hopefully, like if they're following their own rules, they'll go for that. But then I've just realised that this with 2 armor is just an SPW 70. So, so we're just back where we started. Oh dear, or a BTR 70D maybe, because that's got 2 side armor as well. And you'll notice they cost the same because, well, it doesn't matter really. Although you will find situations where the 2 armor does help. But the big one is the BTR 80 because that's actually still got 10 HP, and that means that it can actually survive a max range hit from a Leopard 1 and stuff like that because of the 2 armor and the 10 HP. The 8 HP obviously reduces your survivability. Lastly, the Soviets provided a handful of Conkers. Yeah, I've noticed there's no unspeakable ones, there's only the Conkers. So a handful means 1 card. So you can't even do the typical... I mean, basically you're going to have to bring these SPGs even though they're bad. Who knows, maybe they'll take the time to fix the SPGs if this one gets voted for, but frankly, so far I'm not enthusiastic. And that was the Infantry. Presumably this is the FOMO. The Zero of missing out, as they say. And now we're on to the arty, and that was the biggest one, and it was not very good. I mean, basically the way this is going to work is all the polls are going to vote for this, even if it's just the worst thing in the universe. But hopefully the number of sensible... Well, I don't know, there might be something good coming, I'm not getting that impression. Arty. Rather average as the security and border guards of the division were surprisingly, at least from a western point of view, well equipped with artillery, but all pieces being either light or old. So you've got Podhal 82mm mortars. I believe this is still in the game already, it's just it'll be Mountaineer, right? It was 34, okay. Check out that Polish mortar crew and see what's going on. Was 43. Was 34. I'm convinced this is actually in the game already, but this is the 43, which is the other one, right? And then it says something about 42 76mm. I mean, so it's probably going to be more like this, right? And the the 82mm mortar is going to be... There it is. It's going to be that, but Mountaineer instead of Airborne. So it'll be probably 5 points less. It's not bad for smoking, right? It's got decent range. At least it's not like that Belgian one, which has a very, very, very bad range. Very bad range. Where is it? Where are you? Well, it's got 3,000 meters range. It's very sad. I suppose we could... There we go. Ta-da! Right, and I mean, it should be like 25 points with that range. It's terrible, but it is what it is. Anyway, oh, is this 3? Well, there you go. Is this... That's weird. Could have sworn there was something in the game called this. Am I making that up? Oh, because I'm only looking at Belgians. There you go. It was this. The 9th Z mech features some slightly heavier but equally venerable guns. The 122mm 1938 howitzer. Nobody brings this because the range is so bad. So like you can just compare it to the L118, which is sort of the gold standard. It's the best one for these guns. It's obviously lower caliber, but goes further and it's cheaper, right? Yeah, I suppose 122 is sort of in a league of... Well, I know there are 120mm on NATO, aren't there? That's mainly mortars, isn't it? Yeah. And the BM14M MLRS, this thing's trash. Nobody brings it. It's really bad because it's got 160-second reload. And it's just like... Why? I can apparently reload 40 tubes faster than I can reload 16. The only advantage is that the supply, it's more supply efficient in terms of HE on target per rocket cost, because the rockets just cost the same regardless of the HE, but it honestly it's so bad. Don't bring that. So this is very depressing. I'm really souring on this div. I wanted it to be something and it's not. I wanted it to be something and it's not. Tanks, good in terms of slots, but mostly older tank models. Anti-tank units are more modern. So if you think about Berlin Gropers again, I believe that's got a similar sitch. 111-222-33, and it's like bad tanks, and the AT guns are, I suppose this is a newer AT gun, right? It's got that nerf or nothing thing on the front, so you know it's a nerf gun. Put red on the front. That's smart. The Podhails bring their own tank, and in quite generous numbers. The venerable T-34. M2. Visually different from the older T-34-85M, the Polish upgrade, in game terms, will only improve its autonomy. So they had an opportunity here, right, to actually make something new. Right, it's the M2, it's new. It's not been in the game before. They could give it different stats. It doesn't, you know, it goes further. It's got a bigger fuel tank. It's these history guys at it again. What can I say? They could have just made it slightly better. I don't. So I'll show you a T-34, which is what it is. There it is. 12 availability, no vet. We'll see if maybe this one can be vetted because it's Mountaineers. So you'd assume, like, it might even go up to 2 vet, which should actually be pretty interesting. You know, 12.86 or something. Thinking, like, what's the Kanj PZ kind of availability? Although I think that starts at 10, if I recall correctly. 10.75, so 12.9, 7 or something. What is the 12 availability curve? 12.86, 10.75. Okay, yeah, so it'll be 12.86 most likely. And then you can bring them at 2 vet, and then they'll still be crap because, I mean, at least it's got 10 HP now, but it'll have 45% accuracy and a fire rate of about 8. Actually, no, because it'll be 50% accuracy. But look at the range. The range is equivalent to the AVRE, like it's not this one, because it's like a World War II 85mm gun, so it goes as far as the AVRE gun. So it's faster. Oh my gosh, it's faster. So it'll die in one hit to a Conkers, but it'll be 30 points. Wait, actually no, because it's not reservist. It'll be 35. And it'll have the, well, they don't give the Mountaineer trait to vehicles, so you can't even just zoom through the forest and kill everybody with it, because they don't give the Mountaineer trait to vehicles, because the Gurkha Wombat doesn't have the Mountaineer trait, whereas the Gurkha rifles do. And that's to stop you from zooming through the forest and killing everybody, so that's a shame. You know, they had an opportunity there and they scuffed it. You know that there'll be some historian back there rubbing his hands. Yes, yes. Gandalf approaches my lord. Tell him he is not welcome. But my lord, there is no such force in my history book, and therefore there won't be in this imaginary video game. Right, well, it's a shame, but it is what it is. The 9th ZMech is represented with a small selection of various units, all fielding the reservist trait. This includes a few reservist T-55Us, which is a T-54 upgraded to T-55A standards. So there you go, they had another opportunity there to make something cool and new, and they blew it, so it's just going to be a T-55A. Both will come with the reservist trait. Alright, whatever. Reservist T-55A, basically, which I think is in 157Y. I gotta tell you, man, the Pact, it's just this. They could have made it different. They had a chance. They had a chance to make it different. They had 2 chances. A handful of Res BRDM2 Maryutka Ps, which is in bold and italic, because it's new. So here's a BRDM2 Maryutka P, and the difference is it'll be reservist, so it'll have 45% accuracy and it'll cost 50 points. And Res D4 85mm, which is a D4 80, and it's new because it'll have reservist and it'll cost 50 points and have 40% accuracy. Man, this is such a slop division. I'm so sad. They were like light division, light cool mountaineer division, boring infantry. Funny names though. Boring tanks. Here are some new tanks. We've made them just like the old tanks. Why don't you want to buy it? Where are you going? Oh dear. However, most of the weight is pulled by the Soviet units commandeered to serve in the division, with a strong contingent of BRDM-2 Konkurs and MT-12 Reparer. So these are good units, but once again, they're already in the game. So here's a Reparer. It's got the nice 2,800 meter range ATGM. It's good on the defense, but it dies easy to artillery, so you got to keep it with the MTLB and move it and load it and stuff, and I just prefer the BRDM-2 Konkurs. If I had to choose between the two, I'd pick the Konkurs, because this thing basically just shouldn't have good stealth. It didn't used to, but they gave it good stealth. It's very, very cost effective in terms of, because it just rattles off 5 Konkurs one after the other, and it's really fast, so... But yeah, for some reason this has the same stealth as this little car. You know, well, it is what it is. That's a shame. Very, very underwhelming tab there. 4620. Recon mediocre. Yes, I feel that way as well. Only a few slots and all options being infantry units, although some can deploy in armoured transport. So, I mean, we're looking like Berlin Gropers again, right? Although they've at least got these, but then they've just got a bunch of infantry, and the slots are kind of expensive. I mean, it's a shame, really. Rosb Podhala are large podhail rifle recon squads in Star 266 trucks. So that's going to be 10 guys at least, so that's interesting, I suppose. So it'll be sort of like, oh, Vac Aufklärer 6, we were looking for 6 men before. It'll be like Jäger Aufklärer, right? Or maybe like Sapahis or whatever. They said 10. Spahis, what are they? 8. Fernschwer, they're 6, okay. It'll be like Jäger Aufklärer, but with 10 guys. Right? So it'll probably be like 60 points. Although, don't they have like really bad AT? RPG 2s, so it might be 55 anyway. And then we come in trucks. Rez Yawadosi are 3 men with SMGs and reservist and no AT. So that's like Terriers, Scouts. But it's 3, so it'll probably be 15 points. They're not even got an SMG or anything, and they'll be reservists. So it'll probably be 15 points. Easy 15 points. They can deploy in a car. Regular Zia Dowsi, which presumably are also 3 guys. Although, actually no, aren't they? They're already in the game. It's this lot. 4 guys, and they've got an AT. So 35 points AT. The rack does let them down, but it is what it is. The UAS we all know about, the OT-65, is this thing. So it's not got a gun, but it's got good optics. And it's 25 points for good optics, good stealth, reasonably fast, but no gun, so... Or you can get the same thing, but exceptional, for 25 points. But this is a transport, right, and this is its own unit, so... Well, I wouldn't make this 30, I'd make this 20 if anything. Soviet Art-Razvedka. 3-men teams with an RPG-7 VL from the Anti-Tank Brigade, riding in the PERP-3, a BMP-1 base recon vehicle with a single machine gun but with very good optics. Okay, so it'll have mediocre stealth. It's got Achtung on it there, so that's German. It must be a German one. I gotta tell you, man, and there's no Recon Helo, there's no BRDM2 Recon, there's no Helo Recon. This is trash. this is really, really, there's no BRM1K, right? There's no SPW40 Recon thing. There's no Recon Helos. There's nothing. It's just a few infantry Recon. You're really not selling me on this. Oh well, it is what it is. Like I said, if you're watching this, I do appreciate it. I do it because you guys want to watch it, but this is depressing. The anti-air, honestly, I got to tell you, if you haven't seen the French one yet, that was a lot happier. As was the Spanish one. In general, the NATO ones are just better. The last good Nemesis packed, like kind of interesting one was probably 76Y, which was the first one. I'm trying to think what else there's been. So it's first one was 101st Airborne and 56Y. 56Y was meta for ages. Then it was 152 Easy and 76Y. Then it was Nemesis 3 was the one with 157Y, but I can't remember what the NATO one was. Might have been like CLK, no, CLK, oh whatever, who cares. The anti-air defences of the 5th Wowew are pretty decent, as the internal defence forces were used to safeguard local light and heavy AA units protecting the homeland from aerial incursions. The division can only count on the World War II era 37mm gun. Is that self-propelled or if it's is that already in the game? Might not be. 61k. It might be good, it might be bad. It's just so like if you look at like the Bofors against infantry, it's really bad, and that's 40 mil. But if you look at the Zwillinger against infantry, it's really good, and that's 20. And Do Ryan's got a 30mm one, which is really good. But then if you look at stuff like the SFLA KDA one, that used to be good, but then it literally got nerfed into oblivion, just became useless. But like so like this is good against infantry, and this is bad against infantry because it's got 5% accuracy. So it just misses everything. Right, this literally has 4 times the DPS, more or less. I mean, obviously it reloads faster as well, and the bullets do less damage, but 20% accuracy versus 5%. This is going to hit 4 times more than this is. So it's already going to be 4 times better, roughly. So this is probably going to be bad. However, the 9th Z-Mech are better equipped and bring reservist Strelers. Wow, so that's already in the game, so I'm not sure why they're saying that. There is a reservist Streller. That's a Streller 3, which is apparently the same because... No, actually, it should have 40% accuracy. It's just because it's reservist, it loses 5%. So the reservist Streller 2M is going to have 30% accuracy. It's probably going to cost about 20 points. So we're talking like blowpipe here. The reservist ZU-23 too. So these are good against infantry. They did nerf them and they're still really good. But reservist means 5% less accuracy, which means it's going to be 10% accuracy, which means it'll do 2/3 of the damage, because... Just think about it. So, and it'll cost 5 points less, but it'll do 2/3 of the damage, so it's not great. And the reservist, this thing, I believe, is just a ZU on a truck, right? Yes, it is. Well, who knows if it's going to be the one with the Strelers on it, but, I mean, it says Halbnertiet, not Halbnertiet kilogram, so all coming with the reservist trait, as well as the S60. So this is the one that was good, and then it became bad, I think, because that's the one on the KDA vehicle. And yeah, it used to be really good, and they made it really not good. It's a big shame. So it's not that great, I think, from what I remember. No, it's not that great. Iglas, okay, so at least you get Iglas, so you don't have to bring this. So basically, you're going to be bringing this one, maybe this one for the opener and stuff, and this one. Lastly, from the Polish Home Defense Forces, Air Forces, whatever, a few batteries of the towed Warno. Oh, the Four Fingers of Death, we finally see it. Slightly less capable Warsaw Pact counterpart to the NATO Eyehawk, so it's self-propelled. Sorry, it's towed, and it's like a cub with 4 missiles. I believe this actually is in Wargame Red Dragon, so I'll show you that. Might as well. That's what we're here to see. Wargame Red Dragon. Don't worry, this will load really fast because it's an older game. So what's it called? A walnut. A walnut. Walnut. Huh? No, 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 no. Okay, well, don't worry, bros. We'll find it. I know maybe it's the new one that's in this, but you know. Where is Poland? So if you look at oh yeah, it's in support tab. So this is presumably this is the new version, the newer. So you can compare, because yeah, there's a cub there, but you know, like yeah, this is the new version, so it's probably not gonna be this good. But look, there's the Hibnut. Wow. And manpads go in the inf tab in this game, which is crazy. That means like very rarely do you see people bringing them because you only have 5 imp slots unless you pick some specialty thing, but you get 14 of them, right? So, yeah, so it'll be like an Eyehawk but with 4 missiles apparently. So, great. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, this is this is okay, I guess. The big AA boomer, right? That's actually new. So okay, heli tab. Looks like it's going to be a really long tab, guys. Mediocre with only a few slots available. The only combat helicopters available are the Soviet Mi-24V in transit from Belarusian bases. So I'll show you the Mi-24V. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say really. This div sucks. They had an opportunity and they blew it. That's all there is to it. So yeah, there's lots of different kinds, right? You can get Kokons and rockets, or I mean, this is a technology one. They said Soviet one, so you might get some with Iglas, big rockets and Kokons, medium rockets and Kokons, more Kokons, less medium rockets, right? And then this has got like ECM and stuff, so it won't be that. So it'll be something like, it'll probably be this one. Actually, no, it probably won't. It'll probably be this one or this one of these two. So yeah, that's great, right? And it says only a few slots available. I mean, that could mean anything, right? If you look at like Berlin Command, it's like 2 slots, right? So it might be something like that. Could be anything, right? And then we've got air. Pretty good, with the core of the air support being formed from the local Polish 2nd Fighter Aviation Regiment Krakow Partisans, with the MiG-21 MF, which is already in the game. So this is the whoops, just leaking my Broken Arrow video there, which will be out by the time you see this actually. So there you go. That's why. So these come at 4 per card, which makes them pretty funny. This rocket isn't particularly great. What can I say? I'm demoralized from Vietnam. Yeah, so they're 4 per card, which is what makes them funny, because you can just absolutely poop them out. Use them like in duplicate to try and kill a helicopter, basically. Available in air defense and ground attack roles. Okay, these aircraft were previously featured in South Egg, but in Czechoslovakian service. Oh yes, so they are Czechoslovakian. And then it says in, okay, so it'll just be all these, right? These are all MF, so rockets, big rockets, small bombs, big bombs, double bombs, napalm bombs mixed with regular bombs, cluster bombs, right? So that's hilarious. Oh no 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 no! So they nerfed the East German one because they were like, "This is nonsense. Why is it carrying 1,000 kilos on a MiG-21?" But they forgot about the exact same plane in Czech service and the exact same plane in Soviet service. So if you vote for this one, they'll probably notice and fix it. So... okay. The MiG-21 PFM can also deploy in an additional air superiority role. So, right, what does it matter? Because all of these MiG-21s, they've all got different words on them, but it doesn't mean anything. Because look, there's the MF, there's the Bison. They've both got the same speed and the same ECM and the same HP and the same travel time and the same fuel and the same autonomy and the same gun with the same stats. And it's like, well, who cares? That here's the Migma. You know, it's the same, right? What do these letters mean? They don't mean anything. It doesn't do anything. So unless they tell you this means something, it doesn't mean anything. The SU-7, I just want to know what it is, right? It looks the same. Maybe it's got a better missile on it, who knows, but the SU-7BKL as a ground attack plane, this particularly plane will also be featured in Czechoslovakian service, but in Nemesis 5, so this isn't even new. SU-7BKL. So that's just another MiG-21. Basically. I mean, I know obviously, oh, it's different because the air intake... It's going to be 10% ECM and it's going to go fast. I mean, it doesn't matter, really. So, the Lim 6M trainer in the ground attack role, that's in the game already a bit in Rugana. So this is actually a pretty decent plane, because it comes at like 5 availability or something. And it's got double trouble on the rockets, so the rockets both shoot at once, and the reload time's quite low because it doesn't carry that many. It's actually not bad on Rugana. I do believe I bring... Okay, I don't even bring it. That's hilarious. But yeah, remember when they used to try and divisions actually had stuff in them? Anyway, yeah. I'm at the limit of my ability to read this devblog, but we are near the end. Plus a few prototypes. Okay, well, here you go. Something new. The new domestic-made I-22 IRDA trainer being tested since 1985. Puts use as a multi-role light bomber. So this is that. That is this. So it looks like the Hawk, right? It's probably going to have like 6 HP or 8 HP, and look, it's got some rockets on it. So it'll be a lot like this, basically. It might have more ECM. Who knows? Yeah, so in summary, right, the 5th Planska Brigada Wowew is, how have we made it? Oh my gosh. The Wowew is a mixed light infantry and mountain division with the sizable backing of a mechanized reservist division. This means lots of cheap troops backed by a handful of modern units. Honestly, this lets down the whole thing. This lets down the whole thing, right? The French div, if the French div was added to the game, I'd be like, that's not so bad. I mean, it is basically just a cross between 11E and Du Rhine or something. Or, no, 11E and 152 Easy. But, you know, it's got some it's got some Spanish guys in there, right? It's got some aerodynamic gay boys or whatever. And obviously these guys bring the WOPs, which is, you know, nice and offensive as well, but like the Logi tab is... there's a new truck, great. The infantry tab, a bunch of 10 men mountaineers, but like nothing particularly special or cool. They're just 10 men with terrible RPGs. And, you know, they've got the mountaineer trait, which is okay, great. Then you've got 6-man squads with no AT, so what's the point in that? Then you've got 3 guys, military police, which just, you know, who is going to want to bring that if it's 3 guys? We don't know what's in the Reserwissi squads, right? Unless they're actually... maybe they are already in the game. They are not. The B10, if it's like the B11 but worse, then it's going to be bad. If it's like the B11 but the same, it's going to be bad. The SG-43, if it's like the maximum, it's going to be bad. If it's like a regular MMG team, why wouldn't you just bring the Mountaineer one? 2-men military police. Right, the Zomo are just going to be like Wusu, we can assume. Maybe there'll be a bigger squad. Maybe there'll be a smaller squad, who knows? Couple Conkers, alright. Arty, no self-propelled stuff, just all towed, no big boys, right? This is terrible. This is 122mm. The tanks, here's a new tank we're going to make exactly the same as the old tank. Here's a new tank we're going to make exactly the same as the old tank. Here are 4 units which are already in the game. Recon, no Recon Helo, no nothing, just some infantry, like 3-man teams, 3-man teams, 4-man teams, big team, no funny, like, I mean, this is just not going to be useful. No ground surveillance radar, no exceptional optics, no vehicle recon, apart from this, I suppose. AA, this thing's pretty cool. Nothing else is cool. Helis, you've seen this a gorillion times. And then the MiG-21 with extra letters, but the same function, no doubt. Planes you've already seen. This is new, but it's probably going to be a lot like something you've already seen. This is new, but it's going to be a lot like something you've already seen. All I can say is Wowew.